coming up today on this week's episode of Circle Back.
If you sell this energy drink, you can become the next millionaire.
Yeah.
Right?
Somebody mentioned the grin last week, and I could definitely see it with these photos here.
Look, I am very tilted. I saw this and I'm just mad.
This is a big professional gambler who asked for a payment plan.
You just like uncover the tattoos and do the show, and then you're back to 10. I mean, this is insane. I would love to have put that bet into my account.
Right. Yeah, no, that's a fair. In this scenario with those guys, why are they doing it? I don't know.
Disclaimer. The content presented in this show is intended for entertainment purposes only. All opinions expressed are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of any individuals or organizations mentioned. Statements made about public figures or entities are based on publicly available information and are not intended to harm or defame any person or business. This show relies on fair use of social media posts, which are presented in good faith for the purpose of commentary and criticism. Viewers and listeners are advised to form their own opinions. It's that time, everybody. It's Circle Back here on the Circles Off channel. It's part of the Hammer Betting Network and presented by Underdog. This is the show where we cover the latest and greatest content from around gambling Twitter in the last few days or so, alongside with the Team 1 we have on Tuesday. We have the A-Team here today, as we do for Fridays. Myself, Jacob, your host. We also have Jeff Nadu in the top right corner, Chris Dierkes, Flip No Lie, bottom left, and Joey Knish in the bottom right. And this was a loaded week of content, loaded few days of content. It was really tough to whittle it down to just the topics that we have on the show today, but there is a lot of great stuff for us to go through here. So let's not waste any time and let's jump into things here. The Indiana Pacers, at the time of recording here, up 3-1 in their series against the New York Knicks, in a pole position to get to the NBA Finals. No matter what happens with the next game, with Game 5, Indiana is still in a prime position to get to the NBA Finals. And a couple of bettors wanted to showcase some of their plays. We have C. Blez with, I think this is like all-time rage bait. He says, what will the haters say about me when the Pacers win and I get a new couch? But just creeping out on the side of the photo here is a bag from Nadu, a pretty nice restaurant. So talk about needing a new couch, but also showcasing that he's getting, some good food. And he showcases also his Pacers ticket, says that they're minus 165 to win the East now, and he has a plus 3,000 ticket with a photo to go with it. But there was somebody who was unhappy about this, somebody who wanted to flex that they had a better position than Seablez, looking way better than Seablez. That was Man of the Library, who says, this guy's a jealous fool. He was talking about somebody else. Here are some paper championship tickets on the Pacers, all bet at circa before Seablez. Some at their peak, 165 to 1 odds. So impressive, no doubt. But, Man of the Library, a guy who's talked about how much he's betting. He's talked about unit size being $1,000 and such. But as Jason notes here, takes by Jay, he says, this is too embarrassing to make the cut, maybe even for Circle Back. Well, it's not too embarrassing. Man of the Library showcases his unit sizing here. Granted, to win about 1,000, but $6 bet here, $8 bet here, $8 bet, $6 bet. And look, I'm not one for unit shaming, but when you are constantly talking about how much you're betting, this is an extremely bad look. We'll go to you to do. You're a very large Man of the Library hater. What do you think of this?
Yeah, I mean, it's just another large photo evidence indication of the phony fraud that he is. It's always tough talk. It's always he's the biggest bettor. He gets the most down. He's betting 20,000 a game. And it's funny. He almost doesn't even make anybody work for it. I mean, at what point do you tweet that and say, this is a good idea? Because the first thing people are going to discuss is the constant lies you've told in the past about how you bet all this money. He is, and I don't want to get too upset. I don't want to say too much just because that's what he wants. Yeah. The fact that we continue to mention this clown, I think he's shown everybody who he is, and he's going to have to live with that. But yeah, as Jason was saying, pathetic.
I mean, this is like the homeless man's version of the Vegas Dave scam, where you put like, you bet. He used to bet like, $1,000 on every team, and then the one year the Royals won or something, he touted it for 3 years. This is like the McDonald's value menu version of that, where man of the library only had $100 to spread around, so he bet $6 or $8 on every long shot. Now he comes back around trying to tout it later. For a guy that talks like he does, I can't believe him. But it looks worse than the fact that you bet $6 or $8 on some of these. But yeah, I agree with Nadu. I don't. It's one of those like so sick of this fucking guy that it's like yeah. And you know what? Yeah, I mean he almost wants the dunk just to keep his name in the papers.
Well, I think one thing I will add just real quick is I do think there is a partial truth to the fact that I think he does tweet this stuff just for engagement. I mean, because if you notice anything about him, no one would have said a word if he'd have just posted that he had those odds. He doesn't have to include the amount. It's like he almost included the amount just so he would get stuff like this. And I think I will say this about him. He is a little smarter than he looks. I'll give him that.
Yeah. I don't want to talk too much about Man of the Library because you guys nailed it already. He wants to call out, so I won't give him any. But, God, I cannot handle the Pacers winning. I was wrong about the Cavs. The Cavs suck. I took my L. I lost a lot there. I don't even have that much on the Knicks series, but I cannot take Seablez reading this around. This will be far too painful. It's not for me to win money. It's for Seablez not to win money. Please, New York, come back. I'm begging you. I don't know what I need to do, but I can't handle the Pacers winning. If they do win, yes.
No, I got to say one thing with Seablez. I don't know what it is, but I've come around on him. I think he's a guy that I just find to be kind of a lovable, dorky kind of guy. I think he has the chops. I don't look. Is he a professional bettor? No, but like if you know anything about his brother, I mean, his brother's quite successful. I think he's kind of in his shadow a little bit. He wants to kind of be cool. What is he in his 20s, mid 20s? I don't know. I think
he's got no juice, Nadu. He's got no juice.
But I think that's what makes him. But I think that's what makes him funny. Like he anytime he gets in a space, it's how are you? Like he's always in the same like tone, and I just find it funny at this point. Now some of the cringy stuff is lame, but I think he's kind of funny.
I will give you that. I do appreciate the character, but as Jacob mentioned earlier, he got me. He rage baited me very hard. I am very tempted at this. I'm rooting for him to lose. This is it's a very elite like troll / tweet.
The way it's hidden in the corner too, like it's so like perfectly executed. Like it's so calculated.
I have to give him a lot of credit for this, and it worked on me. Like I am very tilted. I saw this, and I'm just mad. I don't care about the money. I want the Pacers to lose. Please.
Well, yeah, hopefully the Pacers lose, so we see some elite content from these guys. Victor lapping it, but hey, if the Pacers do win, then maybe Man of the Library can pay back some of those big debts that he owes and
0%
get the money back.
Yeah, that ain't
yeah, that's the same chance as your Raptors winning the title, Jacob.
Well, before we go to our next topic, let's hear a word from our presenting sponsor here, Underdog. All right, quick shout out to our friends over at Underdog, because if you've been watching the playoffs but you haven't been using them, then you're missing out on one of the best user experiences in the space. We've tried a lot of different apps over the years, and Underdog just nails it. The interface is clean, fast, and simple, but not in a watered down way. It's intuitive. You log in, you know exactly where to go, and you can build entries in seconds without having to dig through 5 layers of nonsense. It's honestly one of those products where the more you use it, the more you appreciate how well it's built. Whether you're playing casually or taking it seriously, it just works. And you actually want to come back and use it again. We've also heard from a bunch of you and even a few sharp bettors who said the same thing. I didn't expect to actually like this. That says a lot. So if you haven't signed up yet, now is the time. Just click the link in the description and use code CIRCLES on sign up, and that'll get you up to $1,000 in bonus credit as a new customer. Again, that is promo code CIRCLES, right with the link below. Check it out and let us know what you think. We're betting you'll be impressed. Jumping into our next topic, I mean, speaking of people who maybe are scamming in this space, how about this one here? We have a pretty big story coming out from Parlay Portal. This is Adam, who runs the Parlay Portal Discord, the Parlay Portal Twitter account, and SCC Squared, or Squared, actually, sorry, on Twitter. It says, after being down nearly 100 units, what is everyone's thoughts on being done tracking while in a terrible stretch? Good or bad for the space? ? Do I run? So I would imagine C Squared here is a member of this Discord, but there was some pretty controversial stuff that came out here. So a user named Izzy said, Adam, hey boss, when do you think we'll get an updated Pickett recap? I know it's been rough, but transparency is key for me. Adam says this, no more recaps, no longer tracking officially. And then when criticized about it, brought this up on Twitter, said this, I've tracked every step of this journey for over a year now, wins, losses, ups, downs, and through it all, I've proven time and time again what I bring to the table. The success, the effort, the transparency, it's all been there from day one. But, maybe not anymore. At this point, it's not about proving anything. It's a decision to find balance, to protect my energy, and keep this something I enjoy doing. One tough month changes nothing. If I choose to make a personal decision, you don't have to agree. You can kindly leave, and I thank you for giving us a shot. So to articulate and screenshot in this way in a got you moment is truly awful human behavior without the context I discussed. Pretty good one here. Spin Splinter shared this one, but he had somebody coming to his defense. A user called Juice at B3V3Rage says, I think he's right here. I'm currently in the DubClub, and none of us are paying for his picks. We're solely paying for this man's energy. How do we feel about this one, guys? Jeff, you're laughing. Let's start with you.
Yeah, well, as the only pick seller here, which I've gotten a lot of flack for, I'll talk about it. This is something. But again, is he kind of this like tantra guru, like just kind of guy that just feeds good energy, and you're willing to not really worry about anything? Everything goes away. He's kind of like a mortal being that you're willing to forgive everything he's ever done because he just gives you the energy. It's almost like he has this God complex, like he's God and these people are listening to him. He's like a cult leader almost. Look, I was 3-17 in the NCAA tournament. 3-17. It was the worst run I ever had betting college basketball, but I had to face it every day like a man. That's how men face things. This is another guy clearly rage tweeting, clout tweeting. I mean, but again, this is what we see time and time again in this show week after week. This is all an act with a lot of these people. And I think that, that tweet there, I don't think that's an act. The one where he says, we're just dealing with this guy's energy. Does anyone think that's I
thought he was trolling.
Yeah, I think it's dead serious.
I thought it was serious, but
there's always a fan club. Man of the Library is a fan club. They will look past everything.
I don't know Juice, but I'm pretty sure it's a troll. Like I'd be pretty confident that he's trolling here.
Okay.
And I mean, this explanation is the biggest word soup load of shit that you've ever it's one of those things where he says 3 paragraphs, but actually what he means is, oh, my feelings are hurt because everyone's trolling me because I got my ass kicked for a month.
Everybody's a victim, right?
Yes. This is the ultimate victim mentality response of like, oh, now I sell a product. It's absolutely sucked for a month. I don't want these people being mean to me. So I'm going to make up this grandiose, the worlds are colliding and my energy is being sucked by this. Face it, like, as you said, if you're going to sell and you're going to go on a bad streak, as everyone will sometimes, and you can't take the heat in the kitchen, then you know what? Get the fuck out of here.
But look at that guy, though. He doesn't look like he is like Mr. I'm great at everything, God of everything, and it's never his fault, and it's just a bad month. And if you're coming at him, you're just negative, and you're not going to take his positive good vibe.
That's always the reply. Like when somebody's losing, like, hey, your picks suck, you're losing. They go, oh, there's such negative energy. I hate all the negative energy.
The haters,
reminds me of somebody else in the space with some of their antics this week, going on a bit of a blocking spree. They just wanted to get rid of the negative energy. By the way, absolutely a troll. Just look at the person's account. Absolutely not a serious tweet here. I should have probably done my homework there on that one.
What I don't understand here is how could you think that this is like rage bait Nadu? Because like he didn't tweet this initially. Someone else in his like service tweeted it. They might be rage baiting, sure, but I don't think
Well, because he would just stop tracking and not worry about it. He like came up with this tweet. He almost like thought it out and said, "Oh, this will be. I'll just try to make chicken salad out of chicken shit." And just
he got called out for stopping. Someone called him out because his picket wasn't being updated.
Yeah, so he tried to say, "Look, it's going to be negative anyway, so maybe I'll just try to make something out of this and get something out of it."
Nadu, I think you got to read a little wrong here. It's not that his feelings are hurt; it's he wants to continue the grift. He wants to continue the scam.
It's hard to sell when my picket says I'm down 100.
Yeah, and this kind of shows like the problem with pick sellers. If they're down, they don't track, or it's hard to get real tracking. And if they're up, they either talk about it all the time, or or it's fake. So
this is one of the big issues that the company man here, the sister company was from BetStamp, was that you couldn't do the things you could do at like a picket. And so a lot of these grifters then they're like, when it hits you in the face how bad you suck when you're actually tracking it for real, then it's like, oh, well, no, I'm going to go to the picket where I can click this button, this button, this button. Now I look like a winner. So yeah, that's it.
Well, I don't know if you guys know, but he actually had a follow-up tweet. I think he put it out today, I believe, where I guess he's been getting shit all week, and he went on this long diatribe, but then included his daily win-loss for like months on end. And he essentially said, well, how can you get on me? I data mine and I do public spaces and talk about the slates. Who else does that? And then he tried to clean it up a lot. Yeah, and he's never hid from a bad month.
It's just his record no longer looks good and no longer is selling product. So why showcase it anymore? People will buy it if they don't know it's a bad product. That's what this looks like to me. So, I mean, if you're in this Discord, you're in this DubClub, C Squared asks, do I run? Yes. If you're the person you are paying for picks is unwilling to showcase transparency and accountability, yes, absolutely.
If you're in this guy's Discord and you think he's still winning, I have a lot of like bridges to sell you, a Golden Gate bridge to sell you. Like, I mean, come on, like this is obviously. I don't have any like. I don't feel sad for you if you're losing money with this guy at this point.
And we see again the modus operandi of these people. It's do what you want, do what you want, do what you want, and then it's just content. Don't come down bad. I'm the victim. I'm not the wrong guy here. I didn't do anything wrong. It's just a bad month. I'm a victim.
Absolutely. Yeah, you gotta be accountable. That's it. Just own it. It's not going well. Talk about why it's going to improve, and if people believe in you, they'll believe in you. I don't think you should believe in it, but evidently, like somebody saw this and had to even ask about whether this is a problem or not. So I think that speaks volumes to the situation. But from one DubClub partner to a lot of DubClub partners, we had the introduction of CapperCon. DubClub tweeted this: imagine all your favorite DubClub partners being in the same room. Well, we just made that happen. CapperCon. And Spinflinter said, this is my 9/11. Capper Central said, the amount of money lost gambling in that room is unfathomable. Honestly, like just this group of 30 people, the amount of destruction that has been laid in the space potentially by this group. Not just, not necessarily, themselves losing money. I'm sure if they feel strongly enough about DubClub, which if you don't know is a pick selling platform, if they feel strongly enough about DubClub to attend an event like this, they must be raking in from people buying picks. Does that mean they're winning bettors? Maybe it does, but as we've seen from a lot of people on that, not necessarily. Let's go to you, Flip, on this one to start here. I've had a problem with the win more together slogan for DubClub, which portrays a lot of the pick sellers as winners when a lot of them are not.
Yes, I agree completely. And that's what I was going to ask is, do we think that the owners of DubClub truly think that their customer base that's purchasing picks is actually winning? Or do they not care at this point because they're raking in so much from affiliate money and promoting the scam? Like, I think they have to know. I mean, how stupid could you possibly be? Yeah.
They don't.
And it's pretty sad that a company is worth so much that is literally brutalizing people with like scamming them out of thousands. So it's pretty sad. Honestly, it was funny. Did the CapperCon actually happen? I couldn't tell because I was trying to look it up. Or is that like they're promoting it and it's going to happen? That part I also didn't understand.
Oh, I thought this was a photo from CapperCon.
That's what I thought too. But it's like I agree with Fluff. Like I need more detail. Also hilarious.
Yes.
There's a piece of Miller Lite in the bottom right corner. There is like that. I need GRP at this thing, like digging in, like hacking in, like you did the first bet bash here, seeing what's actually. I'd love to know, like, give me the PowerPoint. What was talked about? What are we like doing in this? I don't even know. Like that's the thing. It's like this DubClub world is so far in like this other space of like, I don't even know who the big DubClubbers are. I don't even know who these people are. Like, I don't know. Like, I'll see somebody with like, 150,000 followers. I don't know. So it's like, I would love to get some more, some real inside info here, just mostly to have a laugh and to use it for troll ammunition. But just also, I'm kind of interested to see like what's actually like as Fluff is saying, are they trying to be like, oh, here's how you can, up your ROI and win more or like that? Or is it like marketing strategies and how to get more clients?
It has to be marketing strategy because that's the only way they really make money. Who cares about your ROI?
I was saying the same thing. Yeah. What is the topic conversation?
I will talk about. They've tried to contact me for years to get me to sell picks with them. And again, do I get any credit for not working with any of these lowlifes? I don't work with any of them. I don't work with DubClub, none of them. Number two, it was how much money I could make and they would make and how much they'd take from me. That's all it was. It was and again, I went to them and said, well, why would I work with you? Like, I don't need you. You're not going to promote me. Like, what do I need you for? By the way, what is the median age of kids in that room? 23, 24? They all look to be under 27, 28 years old. And it also strikes me as, and Knish, you definitely remember this. Jacob and Fluff, you won't probably. Knish, you remember in like the early 2010s, there was those like pyramid scheme play. Like they would have like these big seminars in like mall conference rooms and stuff.
Yes.
And you would sell like energy drinks or like, I forget what the one was called, but you would go and at like 7 o'clock on a Tuesday night and they would sell to you how if you sell this energy drink, you can become the next millionaire. Yeah. Right. It reminds me of something like that DubClub.
That's a great comp.
You also look, I mean, I'm on their website and I'm looking at their leaderboard. There's an individual, I won't say his name, but I mean, this week, the guy has 36,000 members at $15 a piece. Now on his post or like page, there are no what he had last night, there are what he had today, what he had last week, what he's made in his life. Even anything. It's just, I win. Here's why you should join. Click the link. It's pretty amazing. They do not care about wins, losses. It is about how much money they're making. It is strictly a profit metric. That's it. They don't care about anything else.
Yeah.
I will say, I'll give you some credit, Nadu. I do agree that you deserve credit for not partnering with DubClub, considering how scummy they are. And this is the argument I got with more on Spaces is, look, I've said before and I'll say again, I don't think that you should be selling picks. We can agree to disagree on that, but you have to give him credit. It's like what I said with J4. At least he's better than the majority of people because so many are so scummy.
And we're not. We're kind of. And I've also made the claim there may be a strong possibility I don't sell picks again after some of the things I've seen the last 6 months being more involved with this space are very concerning. I mean, this has become a very detrimental space, particularly this world. And it's I'm at the point where like I just don't want to be known to be the same type of people that those people are. Just kind of turns me off.
That'd be very great. And also, I want to point out, I do know about the pyramid schemes. It's funny. I was very big into I found them very amusing that people would fall for them. And I remember before I met my wife, I went on a date with this girl, and I looked her up after, and I saw she was like in the pyramid scheme selling like the energy drink. So I was like, no more second day. Like, how could someone be this stupid to be involved?
There were some big ones. Yeah.
So I know exactly. I had the same thought as you. This looks like a pyramid scheme, and that's what DubClub really is. It's a pyramid scheme.
Yeah.
I mean, you also remember too, all those people in that room were likely flown to that location. Like I'm sure they didn't pay to go there. They probably were paid. They're probably flown into that. They're probably making insane amounts of money.
I do question like the morality behind some of these people. Like, okay, not every seller at DubClub is a losing pick seller, but in a lot of sense,
probably honestly everyone is.
There's winners. There's gotta be like 2% minimum.
Fine.
Can we say?
Fine.
Like there are some winners, because I don't want it to like be portrayed like not a single person in DubClub is a winner, but a lot of them aren't winners, and there's not a really great way of being able to tell who the winners and who the losers are. And I was questioning the morality of some of the losing pick sellers who are involved with DubClub. Is it possible that someone don't even realize they're losing pick sellers? Because I think a lot of bettors think they're like break even 50-50 when evidently they're not. So I question the morality of these people. Like, how could they actually do this? Like,
it's funny,
willfully providing this bad service and losing people money.
It's funny you mentioned this. It makes me think a lot. My grandfather, he was very well off in his life, and he loved to gamble at the casino. If you asked him how he did at the casino, he was only betting a couple $100. He won money every time he went to the casino.
Yeah.
Because he told himself that whatever he brought back would profit. It didn't matter how much he started with. So if he asked him, are you up or down? He would have probably said up.
Yep.
And he was a very smart guy. He just convinced himself because he didn't want to think about his losses. And it never really affected him. But I don't think that these people are actually intentionally being immoral. I think they're just so delusional.
Some of them are, but I think a lot of them are not.
Fair. I'll give you that. But I do think some are just like so caught up in their own lies that they truly do.
That's what I'm trying to get at. They don't even realize that they're losing pick sellers selling losing picks. So yeah, it's all been said. DubClub focuses on the profits off people more so than actually providing winning services, which is the frustration with the platform. So, and if anybody involved in DubClub wants to disagree with that and showcase some evidence of that not being the case, please feel free. #circle back. Before we go to our next topic, if you're enjoying the show, please make sure you do smash that like button, subscribe to the channel as well. Help us jump to 20,000 subs on the channel. Let's keep this thing growing. But Nadu in the last segment mentioned stuff that's detrimental to the space. And there was somebody who also pointed this out on Twitter in the last week. It was Narco Cop MMA at Narco Cop, who said insane amount of snakes and weasels in the sports gambling community. I think we've talked about a few today. Bunch of fakes and backstabbers. So I don't know if am I missing a significant event that would have triggered a tweet like this, or is this more so just a generalization?
I think this had to do with some of the recent stuff on Spaces. He's right. I mean, I would say it's about pretty much everybody. I think out of 100%, I would say 85% are scumbag lowlifes that parade themselves about as good people. Case in point, and I think a lot of that tweet had to do because he was in there with this Mort guy. This guy came into a space out of nowhere, attempted to paint me as a scammer, gave no proof that I was, just that I was because he didn't like me. We then find out within 30 minutes that he absolutely had scammed someone, and they came in and talked about it. And in 30 minutes, we found out that this holier-than-thou guy who was the king of quants, the king of everybody, he's the real sports bettor. We find out that he's actually, a total degenerate lunatic who scammed the guy for $1,000 and asked for a payment plan. This is a big professional gambler who asked for a payment plan. So, yeah, I think most of the people that parade themselves as the greatest and the best, they're the biggest scammers, most of them.
This is the whole thing of like, it's just become calling. It's almost like not just we've talked about the spaces, but like in gambling Twitter in general, in the nutshell, is like people calling other people scammer while they're doing the exact same thing. Like even Narco Cop there is gonna like I'm for it, but he's still selling a package. He's doing like a service. So it's like I'm just gonna keep. No, you're the scam. You're this guy. Well, I'm doing the same thing. Literally like to a T, the exact same thing as these other 8 people do. But no, they're the losers. They're the ones that are grifting people. I'm the shining light here in this beacon. This community that I'm different. I'm the unicorn here that's actually winning.
I will give him
scamming.
I will give him some love. From what I understand, and I'm not a UFC guy, but from what I understand, he is a pretty good bettor as far as I know. I think he could be one of the 5%, 10% I'm talking about. But I don't buy his pick, so I can't truly say.
I think, Nadu, you were in this space when this happened. I remember a couple months ago where there was 2 DubClub guys, and they were kept telling to each other how the other one didn't deserve to be on DubClub. I thought that was hysterical as I'm watching. It's like the Spider-Man meme where they're both like, "Oh, you suck. No, you suck."
The spaces turn into that a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Don't they? Especially when maybe people like Man of the Library.
How many out of let's say 100 people on Twitter that are involved with this community, what percentage of them are scumbags?
Well, I think you have to define what scumbag is.
Yeah.
So
everyone has ulterior motives.
They've either scammed someone out of money, they're scummy pick seller, they've had multiple accounts, those types.
Probably pretty high, like 70%.
Yeah.
It's unfortunately very high, but you have to think, even guys that you would think they're not selling picks, they're just in there. Why are in these spaces? Like someone like Man of the Vig, why is in these spaces all the time? It's likely to get connections or build relationships. There has to be an ulterior motive for almost everyone. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. That's why I'm there all the time. But everyone has an ulterior motive. No one's in there just to be friendly and have a good time. Honestly, Nadu, you might be the only one.
Yeah, I might be. Yeah.
Really don't have a good time.
I just go. I've said it before. I literally only go in at night because I'm bored, and it during the spring and summer, there's nothing going on. So, it's
but even at the absolute surface level of the enjoyment, it certainly helps build your brand, on a personal level, right? I'm not saying that's the reason you're in there because you're thinking it's going to build my brand, but there is something that comes out of it, and you selling yourself as you do. I guess you would want to sell yourself to make yourself more likable to the public as well. Not that that's your main intention, but everyone will always be selling something. That Johnny brought this up on his guest appearance on this show. Everyone will always be selling something. So people that are just there, are they on Twitter to build relationships, betting relationships, get accounts? So there's something that everyone's kind of looking for, I think, at all times. All right, next topic we have is going to be comments. But before we do that, we're going to talk about one of our sponsors here, Edge Boost. Ever had your deposit blocked right before a big bet? Ever needed cash at 2 a.m. for another shot at the tables, but you hit your ATM limit? Listen, I've had experiences like this, so I'm sure you have had them as well. You never know when you're going to get that message about a big edge somewhere. You've got to fill your account quickly before it evaporates, and you just can't get that money in there in time. Your bank blocks your deposit. Maybe you get the deposit through, but it takes 30 minutes for that deposit to process, and all of a sudden, you can't get down on that huge edge that you wanted. Well, that situation arises no more with Edge Boost. Edge Boost is the first ever bank account built for bettors. Edge Boost gives you fast, reliable access to your funds, making it easier to move money when and where you need it, without the delays that can come with traditional banks. For you high rollers, you can move up to $250,000 a day on your Edge Boost Visa debit card with unlimited withdrawals. This works 24/7 for instant deposits. Never wait for a wire to clear again. It gets better. Every time you deposit into qualified gambling accounts, you earn cash back rewards up to 0.5%. All this for no usage fees and no minimum balance. Edge Boost is a debit account that makes it easy to get started with no credit checks, no minimum balance, and no usage fees. Simply verify your identity and you're ready to go. Finally, Edge Boost is a suite of responsible gambling tools to help you manage your bankroll and make informed decisions. What are you waiting for? Go to www.edgeboost.bet. That's www.edgeboost.bet, or just go to the link in the description and sign up to Edge Boost today. First comment comes from Tommy David Verbal, who says Whitlock and Nadu are 100% correct. This was about the Angel Reese debate that we talked about last week. Said she lives near me in Chicago, where her rent is a little shy of $10,000 a month, and she has the nerve to complain about her salary while living there, saying it's unaffordable. She's a professional victim all the time, no matter what is going on. We talked a lot about the WNBA last week, Nadu. You're directly mentioned. So what are your thoughts on this comment here?
Yeah, I never thought I'd be in the same sentence as Jason Whitlock and being 100% correct.
Maybe not a great connection, but
yeah, I think again, she kind of she's kind of like everybody else we talk about. I mean, when you can't be the best, you just kind of insert yourself into situations and you can get something out of it. And I think Angel is a bit sensitive, surely. She reads everything. She's the big – I'm sure she sits on the bus after games and searches her name on search and goes through all the comments, you know. That's just the kind of person she is. That's how I am occasionally. So, yeah, she's definitely it's all about her. And if she can't be the best, she inserts herself into things. As we said last week, I kind of do wish she was a little bit better. I think Knish stated that. I think it would be a lot more entertaining.
Yeah, I agree. If but I think she's kind of figured. I don't know if she's figured it out yet, or if she's just that's how maybe she's a little delusional. But like her best bit is kind of like being the Caitlin Clark villain, the off the court stuff, the kind of showing her body. Like she's kind of more famous and more doing like TikTok and like that kind of stuff. And obviously she's making more money doing that than she is in the WNBA. So I don't blame her for doing it. It's just I actually kind of like if she leans into it.
I think she's a lot like the people we talk about on here, where you can make a living on the internet. Like you don't necessarily have to be the best at your job, like an WNBA player. I said last week, and people were knocking me, but I will put my money on the fact that she is probably the most wealthy WNBA player at this point, at least per year. She's making a ton of money through outside sponsorships. I do disagree with the commenters' thing about the apartment. Like, I think she was just flexing. Doesn't she go to the Met Gala and shit? She has a lot of money. She's not like making,
she's doing well off
a year.
Court for sure.
Yeah, she's making millions of dollars a year. She's making the same amount of money as NBA players at this point.
And I think she deserves it because she dove into the brand, and you have to respect that. I mean, get your bag. How can you hate on that?
I think the WNBA salary stuff is like a completely different discussion, but Angel Reese is very well off indeed.
But remember, Jacob, and I say this to myself, I dish it out, so I have to be willing when it comes back to me, I have to take it. And that's not always easy, and I get into arguments, but she doesn't seem to understand yet. She's another one. She's always the victim, right? So
yeah,
people were screaming stuff, so it was racist, and there was no proof of that, and then she doesn't say, well, hey, I was wrong and I'm sorry I did that. She just kind of pretends it didn't happen.
Yeah. Next comment here. I think I found Flup's burners, but at show_time 102 says Flup's MVP performance. Own that WNBA convo, but also at JWD2592 said fair play, Flup. Great show today. And also mentioned this is the A team. But let us know in the comments which of the two shows you do prefer, because the debate could be starting a little bit.
Yeah, let Flup's family members and friend group, please let us know, because apparently they're all watching the show and have access to it.
And I love the other comment on how he tried to disguise himself and say fair play to the team too, so it wouldn't look too obvious that it was his sister brother.
I just want to point out that was the same guy that said he hated me and that I was like too arrogant.
I didn't catch that. You're right.
And then switched
mid-show. Yeah. You won him over. As anybody else in the show won you over, also let us know in the comments. Any other things, any other topics you have something to say, put in the comments and maybe you can feature next week. Last week, I did ask to mention the doppelgangers of everybody in this crew here, because we looked at the Cam Scattaboo photo, which looked very much like myself. So we asked for the ones for everybody, and at Play the Seniors came through with suggestions for everybody. So let us know if you think any of these are accurate, and you guys tell me what you guys think of these. So for me, this is a very niche one, but for me, it's every ball hockey player in Woodbridge. So if you live in my area, Toronto,
or Cam Scattaboo, and just we don't need.
We already had that one, but if you live in the GTA, you will probably understand this, and I do think it's pretty accurate. But for Nadu, it is.
This had me laughing so much.
This was when I remember seeing this when it first came out, and someone tagged that was a great dad.
There's a guy in my comments. He anytime I tweet something, he puts that can of tea in the thing.
I see the Rizzler a little bit, but the Arizona can from April Fool's, that like spitting image, and even
the one that I get the most, and I don't know if you guys know who this guy is, but if you're in the hip hop rapper world, there's a guy 1090 Jake. I get that. People always tweet and say, "Oh, you're 1180 Jake" or something. Like without the tattoos, people always say,
shit. Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I get that one a lot.
Yeah, I absolutely see that. I'm gonna quickly get this photo in for everyone else to see to make it easier.
Yeah, I get that. I literally get that.
This is insane.
Yeah, I get that 5 times a day.
Yeah, that's the hair. The hair does help, but yeah,
like without the tattoos on his face, like
you just like uncover the tattoos and do the show, and then you're back to 10. I mean, this is insane.
Yeah.
Next one was for Knish, and it was Jason Segel, which you guys let me know. I don't really see it. What do you guys think?
I don't.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, listen, I don't mind, dude. Jason Segel, obviously, great. I mean, I can see how he would see it, just in terms of the success and the good looks. So, but I don't know if it's a total, it's a hit.
I still remember, didn't someone on the Spaces early on think you were actually that guy from Rounders?
Yeah, they all did. They all thought they all thought I was like the actual no, I think they thought
John
not
Turturro
actor, but like who he played in real life.
Okay,
because it was a spin-off, an actual person that existed, and they all thought
really?
I was that guy.
I didn't know that. That's a real person.
Yeah.
No shit, I never knew that.
The last one was Fred Savage from Wonder Years for Flup, and I honestly see it a little bit. I know the hair is different, but somebody mentioned the grin last week, and I could definitely see it with these photos here.
You probably look like that as a kid, I would think.
I was gonna say, if age this photo with AI like 10 years and you got it.
Because modern day Fred Savage does not look like Flup, but the Wonder Years photos here. This is such a great pull by that comment here, I think. Great.
Maybe I'll go back and find a younger photo of myself. And
get like a 6, 7, 8-year-old photo. I bet you look like the kid on the left.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, next topic here. Big news coming out of gambling Twitter this week. We had the conclusion of Matt Zylbert's trial for the stalking charge. Matt Zylbert was found. I don't know if the verdict was exactly not guilty, but he was not convicted. Whatever it was, Matt Zylbert was exonerated of the charges. A lot of people had something to say on this one. Elf talked about it, saying, "Today is the trial day for Matt Zylbert. Let's wish him good luck in the court case. Hammer the under 0.5 convictions." And they also sent Xavier Smith III. Is that what it is? To collect the bounties. They had a person at the event. Knish, you tweeted this. "We'll pay somebody $1,000 to attend the case in person and yell, 'How about that call?' as verdict is announced and record." There's a lot of tweets, though. Elf congratulated Zylbert.
Wait, I gotta ask, Joey, did you pay out?
No, they were trying to get me on the speed like 1 a.m. before that. I didn't even know this. I don't know who that guy is. I didn't even know he was going.
Well, I actually have some unknown information on this, possibly. So for anyone that doesn't know, Xavier Smith is actually Elf's brother.
His real life brother.
Yeah. And from what I understand, he obviously went to the court case, but somebody phoned in to the Nassau County courthouse that there was someone that was going to try to disturb the peace, supposedly, and he didn't end up doing it because he was worried about getting an obstruction charge, so he didn't do it.
Joey, did you do that because you don't want to pay the $1,000?
Yeah. So I mean, hopefully they don't have the caller ID on those things. Because I saw the messages when I woke up the next day that this guy was going, but then the only thing that he did get him when he came out of the courtroom was at least like,
okay.
Here's the video of Zylbert just after the case, and
I think this is a simple case, and I truly mean this. Of the judge looked at this and said, "This is such an insane, like the fact that Matt Zylbert went to trial over this." I have to give him credit.
Details? Is there like a?
Yes, I'll tell you the details. This was a 4th-degree misdemeanor. Okay, which is, you could make a case that speeding is more destructive because you get points for speeding. This is simply you just admit to doing it so you can get a ticket and move on. Like, this is so insane that he fought for this. But again, you're not going to plead to something you didn't do. And he believed he didn't do it. I think the judge was just probably like, we're not going to spend more than 3 minutes on this. This kid has heart. Cut it out. This is over. It was over some girl, some sort of relationship that they had at some point. But I give him credit. I mean, he didn't admit to something he didn't do. And I think we had all been in agreement. This is why you have to, give people their due, because people hear stalking, they think he's, some guy looking in windows and stuff. And you got to give it time, because he was steadfast that he didn't do it, and he got vindicated.
There's another comment here from the Beak, Willie Beekman. It's asking for Deadspin to hire him back, saying firing Matt Zylbert ahead of his trial was not only premature, it was wrong. Now that he has been fully exonerated by our justice system, your decisions stand as a stark example of failing to uphold the due process and fairness. Matt Zylbert has been found innocent. He's been found not guilty. You owe it to him and to your audience. To make this right, I demand that you rehire him immediately at 1.5 times his previous rate, to reflect the damage done to his reputation and career. If you fail to act, I'll make a personal mission to ensure this becomes a widely known story about how a company discarded someone before the facts were known. You have an opportunity to correct the mistake. Take it. I don't know how serious this is from the Beak, but does Deadspin
he's not wrong.
His job back? What do you think?
He's not wrong. I mean, they've gotten more clicks on his articles than probably ever in a long time on Deadspin. Not that he's like,
but at a
Dan
certain
Rather
point,
or something, but
does Deadspin want this person, regardless of even before this came to light? Does Deadspin want this as a representation of their brand, do you think? Is that the bigger story?
I mean, but he's basically, it's like it didn't happen. The thing was, it's not on his record.
Regardless of the case, I'm saying.
If they fired him because of reasons other than this case,
exactly.
Sure. But I think Beak has a point here. It's likely that they did fire him for this case. So if you did, to Nadu's point, it didn't happen because he was found, not guilty. So you can't do it.
But he said he wasn't fired. He said he's on.
That's true. He never got fired. That's a good point.
Is he just on a leave or
he's on assignment. That's true. So we don't have to worry about it.
Maybe. But have they brought him back yet? Is he still working?
Still out on assignment, I think. Though we haven't. I don't know if we've heard any additional news. Some people poke fun at this more so than others. Trav at he hate me 2_0 says normal people don't need to be exonerated from stalking charges in court. And Jay Webb said it's always the ones you least suspect. I talked about it last week. I said we don't know how the case is going to transpire, but wasn't surprising.
I hate that. I hate that. Yeah, I have to talk about that because if you don't like someone, you can just make a false accusation against them. You cannot use accusations, especially ones found not guilty, against the man. That's ridiculous. It's very bad faith.
No, it's a big problem nowadays. A lot of people throw words around like crazy. Words that you should never throw around about a man or a woman, and they throw them around because they don't like people. That is that's a fucked up comment to me. That you shouldn't be saying stuff like that. A lot of people are wrongfully convicted, wrongfully accused. It goes on all the time. So let it happen to you, and then we'll see if we can make that joke, see if it's funny.
Jeff Feinberg said, he's on the Tuesday show, said, I will blindly tail Matt Zylbert tonight. The man is running pure after his big day in court. Haters can't deny that he's legitimately out on assignment today, and it's not even Wednesday. Also, Matt Zylbert tried to call out some of the haters. I was tagged, as was Jason, as was Eric Eager, VP of Analytics for the Carolina Panthers, says, Eager, what do you think of my court win, by the way? You had some words from me before the resolution, I recall. And Eric said, congratulations on beating what looked like a pretty embarrassing stalking allegations, Matt. Looks like you're taking OJ's approach to proving the verdict correct. And speaking of OJ, Playmaker Dave having some fun getting an AI-generated image of Matt Zylbert post-trial standing alongside O.J. Simpson.
Hey, Jacob, I want to read a text that I got pertaining to you from Matt Zylbert. It was actually, I thought, pretty funny. He said, follow me back again, LOL. I won't be annoying in tagging you about the Jacob the Giant stuff. So I think he knows that his time is spent consistently reaching out to you. I want to ask, did he win yesterday or Does anybody know?
Of course, it's Wednesday. How does he lose? It's Wednesday.
I'm pretty sure he lost.
I don't follow him, so I haven't seen anything in regards to whether he won or lost after this. I'm not even sure if he had won. I think I would have seen it. I may have been tagged in something. I don't know. Maybe somebody can.
He was 1-1 last night on Wednesday.
So, as long as it was minus 110-ish. That's break even, I think.
I love how he did like victory laps and asked people if they saw his acquittal. That's a wild move.
It is strange that you are not the first nor the second person to have gotten messages about me from him. So, Eric Eager may have had a good point there. All right. Anything else? Or are we ready to move?
Good for him.
Let's go to the next topic. We have the BJCover situation that is unfolding within the Elf spaces. It has reached a pretty bad point, I think, at this point. Felt like it was big enough to discuss here. We discussed it before, but BJCover started this off by showcasing a bank account balance of minus $5,000 and said this is going to be tough. And he has continued. So everybody doesn't know BJCover. Does he do the timestamps? Is it for the Elf spaces? Is that his
not anymore? But he used
role?
to. Yes,
was doing it. We questioned whether or not Elf should continue to have BJCovers involved in his spaces, considering the fact that BJCovers has a very well-documented gambling addiction, which is causing him to lose a lot of money. So we questioned whether or not Elf should even have BJCovers involved in his spaces. Well, we've also talked about the Adam and Earl spaces on this show. We did it on the Tuesday show. And Vegas Regular had this to say. At Vegas Regular 711 said the difference between a kid and an adult, the way Elf and the NHL bettor, so Adam, handled BJCovers and their spaces. Elf says, I can't boot him or he will go to another space. Adam of the Adam and Earl show says, he is blocked from my space, but he can call me if he wants real help. Well done, Adam. Elf is a clown. So we've talked about it on the show before, and we came to, I guess, a general consensus of how much can we do for somebody who doesn't want the help. But to me, this still feels like a little bit of a content grab and a way to just get more clicks and using such a negative thing to get more interaction. So what did you guys make of this?
Well, look, I've had a long history, BJ. BJ's been around a long time. A lot of people forget he was a big time bettor. He made a lot of money years ago selling picks and stuff. Then he just went down this horrible road. Now he's just kind of a door dasher who has a gambling problem. Yeah, I had a heart to heart with Elf. I told him straight up, this kind of behavior, you continuing to platform this guy and babying him. He is a man. He has a gambling problem. You wouldn't send a recovering alcoholic to the bar every night. You wouldn't send a junkie to Skid Row every night. It can't suffice. And, weirdly enough, Brett Feinsod made a great point on this, stating essentially that it's not just a gambling problem. He has a clout problem. He wants so badly to be known in these spaces. He will take a job for free to clip something just so he can be involved. And this is a sad reality with a lot of this stuff. You want to be known on Twitter or wherever, and you're willing to do things. And I noticed with BJ, he started tweeting like Elf. That tweet for him, he knew would get him eyes, whether it would be embarrassing or not. And I told him straight up, it's not he needs to get off spaces. It's not we can't have him in spaces. He needs to admit himself into a facility where they take his phone away. It's real simple. And come back in a month or 2 months. And if you can be on here and it's okay, most people can, then you're fine. But we got to stop babying this guy. He has a problem. It's not he bets too much. No. He has a problem with all facets of this.
I want to share a story of mine. So I knew a guy at college that had a very bad gambling addiction too. We played poker with him. And a couple years later, about a year and a half ago, I'm in sports. I'm looking for accounts. So I thought, well, he's probably got some good accounts. And honestly, bad of me to even think that. I probably should have just left him alone. But I messaged him, and he says, hey, I've been in GA for a while now. I was there 11 months ago. I can't have any contact with any gambling. I know I wouldn't be gambling, and it would be you, but I can't do it. And that made me so happy to get that text from him. And what am I supposed to say at that point? I just moved on, ceased contact with him because his life is in a much better place. Nadu was exactly right. You can't have any involvement. The timestamps is a bad idea. Twitter Spaces is a bad idea. Even looking at sports for the next year is probably a bad idea. Cut off the internet, focus on your job, go to GA, and your life will turn around considerably better.
No, you guys, and it's hard because it's like everything right now. Like I know he's been around for, like, he had another account, he sold it for, a gambling debt or to make some money. So it's kind of like it's almost like you have to be ready, and it seems like he's, at rock bottom or close to it, to make that seat where, the things you do every day has to change, and it has to change significantly. And you have to get off Twitter, and you can't be doing gambling space anymore, and you can't be following lines or any of that. And so a lot of people, just whether it be drinking, gambling, any of that, aren't ready to, or just aren't capable, or don't feel they're capable of making that kind of life change. So I hope it is. And I agree with that the last thing he should have been doing, and people told this for months ago, and you being one of them, that he shouldn't have been doing this. And I don't know if the screenshot was real or not, but minus 5,000 in the bank account. He doesn't got obviously much going on for him, so you feel for the guy. But at some point, like we've said here, I've seen his tweets for the last few months, even before he was doing that, where he was being very, realistic. I don't want to go on anymore. I've lost it. Like, at some point, you got to, you can't be playing the victim. You got to make the change. So you don't really want to hear no, you got to change something now, bro. And that's tough love.
I also want to point out, in the space the other day, Beeks made the suggestion, what if we pull together to get him back to zero? That is a very bad idea.
I heard you respond to this, and I agree. The worst idea I've heard.
Right. This gives validation that, hey, I'll never hit rock bottom because I have a community that will back me up. Honestly, what would be the best thing is, I don't know if this is considered bank fraud, doing community service or getting punished, maybe spending a night in jail for something like this, would actually be very good in my opinion, because it shows that you have a serious problem, and it's not going to stop until you make a real change. So he needs to suffer in some way for these mistakes to really learn and get it through his head.
This also shows some real concerning behavior by him, because that tweet was posted on, I believe it was Tuesday, right? Memorial Day, banks were closed. It shows a real effort to get around things by on PayPal. You can delay it for a few days. It just shows really bad stuff. And that second tweet is a great, if you could put that back up, about Elf and Adam. And I don't want to go full circle, but I will. I remember the first time I ever went into Elf Spaces, I went in and unloaded on, kind of Gen Z, kids, right? And how they're kind of reckless. And I think this is a really good indication of that. Elf was, just continuing to make excuses for BJ and why, we'll keep him around and we'll give him well wishes and he'll be fine. And it's like, no, he needs to be removed from this space, and someone needs to go to his home and take him to a facility, right? He needs to go away. And Adam came in and said, no, he's not going to just sit here and listen. That's just as bad as him being on the panel. He's not welcome here. And it's not that we don't like him. We're not going to enable him. We're not going to give him well wishes. It's enabling behavior. And I think Elf, again, giving him the job, bringing him to Vegas. Remember that? He flew him out to Vegas. And the thing about BJ, final thing I'll say is, he has a really good support system. He has a girlfriend. He has a family that I think we've seen are supportive of him. His life would be so much better. And I almost hope he does, because he deserves a more rewarding life. I don't think this should be the life that defines him. I feel bad for him. Like I said, I've known him a long time. He's a nice guy. Having a job, and that's not going to happen. Go get help and then worry about what's next.
Yeah. If he cared about, there's a lot of people who have reached out, saying they're there to help. And if he cared about that, he would reach out to them and not post a screenshot.
Yep, 1,000%.
A bank account. So that's really all there is to it. Next topic here, the $12,000 mistake made by Krabs Bets. You let us know in the comments what should have been the outcome of this situation here. But it was brought up by Book It with Trent. who said, such a sticky situation here. P. Lopez 15 sent Krabs Bets $250 to place a parlay for him last night. Krabs accidentally placed a parlay wrong and took raise on the run line, -1.5, instead of the money line. The parlay would have paid $12,000. The raise won by 1. What should happen here? And important to note, as brought up by Alex here, Granado's A24 says Krabs also sent a pic of the bet before he placed it. Very important detail noted by Trent. So let's start with you, Flup. In this situation, I don't know if you've ever dealt with anything similar, but what should be the outcome of this situation?
I had a situation happen to me a week ago, actually. one of my traders placed a bet. They got sent an order. They placed a wrong bet and they misclicked. The bet won. We pay out. We have to pay out. That is the ruling. There's no other interpretation for it. However, this situation is not exactly that, because he sent back the slip before he placed it. And because of that very important detail, it's no longer the case. Because he sent it back and was like, is this good? Let's confirm. And the guy confirms or says nothing other than that, then it's on him. And this is why, if you're going to be placing bets for friends, you should always confirm with them, send a pic of the slip before you place it, and you won't run into this problem. But if you don't do that and you just misclick yourself, there's no other ruling. You have to pay it out yourself because it's your fault entirely.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Especially, like in this, there is no, like Better Business Bureau or Amazon reviews for movers or people that are getting bets down for you. So your kind of like integrity, your honor, your word is kind of all you got. I mean, there's a scenario where a guy sent me some, Asian baseball overnight. I passed out before I was able to send him what the actual fill was. The bet won. Now, could I have just been ignored and be like, oh, hey, sorry, man, didn't get it in? No, but after the fact was like, hey, sorry, forgot to send confirmation. It was actually in at, -105 and, paid him out the, $1,000 and on there. So that to me is just like, when you're in the game seriously, and I know, Trent and Krabs and those are kind of, they're, jackass, doing it for giggles and all that. But I think when you're in the game serious, you have to do it as the way the business should be done there. What should happen? I don't, it's one of those where like, they're just what happening here. So people, they can get a bunch of, engagement off of it. But I agree. If you're betting seriously, you're betting really for someone, you have to pay that out.
I'll tell them what I told Jersey Jerry back in 2021 that created a firestorm that we ended up fighting in front of a bunch of people. I remember what started that was he placed a parlay that lost because Julio Jones stepped on an end line when you needed him to score a touchdown. It didn't count. He went and whined to Dave Portnoy about it and said he should have had the money because it was close to winning. We've all done this before. Get the fuck over it.
No, I agree.
I mean, and also, I love Trent, but like, do we have proof this actually happened? Is there proof? These would be just the little,
cross my mind.
Yeah,
this would be just a little.
There is so from the video here that Trent was basically acting as the judge for this, and he did end up quote unquote ruling that Krabs did owe the $12,000. The only screenshot that I recall was a screenshot of a text message that had the parlay, which included Ray's ML in it. Along with
no
actual ticket is what I'm saying.
There's no photo.
That doesn't strike anybody as a little.
What I love about that. Well, what I love about the screenshot was it was no odds attached, which I found hilarious. It was just like 5 bets, no odds.
It's right on brand, isn't it?
Also, another thing with this, and maybe again, I understand Flop, he's moving or Knish, but why are these guys doing it? Why not just do it yourself? Why are they getting people to place bets for each other? I don't
understand. I would love to have put that bet into my account.
Right. Yeah, no, that's a fair. In this scenario with those guys, why are they doing it? I don't know.
The person here, Preston, said they were busy. They just couldn't bet it for some reason. But it's just like, You really had to bet like.
Unless
you really needed to make that negative EV bet so bad that you're like, man, I'm not going to get this bet in time. Please, Krabs.
I've gone full now. Like this didn't actually happen.
How much time would it take to make a 6-leg parlay on like main markets?
45 seconds.
Yeah,
exactly.
Agreed. That thought crossed me. Also, the fact that Krabs was like I don't know, he wasn't upset about it. Maybe he just understood that he fucked up.
Yeah, that seems like, hey, this is a slow news day. Let's figure an idea. I remember Barstool. I used to do that a lot. Hey, nothing's going on. Let's break each other's balls about something.
Finally, it is the chopping block. But as a reminder, if you've made it this far, you've clearly enjoyed the episode. So make sure you do smash that like button. Also, subscribe to the channel. As I said, we want to pump ourselves up to 20,000 subs. But for the chopping block, it starts off with the real Fats, who got into it with GRP wins this week. And there's a lot of back and forth between the two going on. But the real Fats showcased a lot of screenshots, which I have not included. But it discussed George and his records betting over the last few years. From posts of George that I was able to accumulate, we have worst year, down 36.5 units, 28 and 21 in 2018, 27 and 39 in 2019, which GRP called his worst year, 15 and 13 another year, 10 and 4 last year. That adds up to 80 wins, 77 losses, to a net of minus 5.7 units. Then when you add in bad year of minus 36.5 units, you get an overall performance of, sorry, I cut it off here. But anyways, Real Fats was going at GRP for his record keeping and his losing and betting the last week. You all wanted to talk about this, so let's start off. Go ahead.
If I told you that wasn't the most important argument he got involved with the last week, would you believe me? I'm surprised that's what we're talking. I mean, did anyone see him going at Omar and Library?
We talked about it on Tuesday. We had it covered.
Oh, did you? Oh, we did. Okay, I must have missed that point. Yeah, no, Fats has been a big newsmaker this week. I give him credit. I like Fats. I also have discussed. I have gotten a little tired of GRP, though I am meeting him next week. He asked me to meet him, so I'm going to meet him. But surprising. He's not a winning bettor. Surprising.
Yeah, that's what it's like. Fats. Jesus Christ, man! Like how much time from the screenshots I was able to accumulate.
He dug deep.
How long did that it's like, I know the guy's got some health issues going on. I like him. I think he's a genuine person.
Yeah.
I do. And again, people can spend their time the way they want to spend it. Fats, like, I don't know, man. Go. Don't be arguing with, like you said, don't be in the weeds here arguing with Omar, man, the library and tracking GRP's record for the last 8 years. Also, random on this one. I love his record last year was 10 and 4. Like, like for the full season of NFL, 14 bets, 10 and 4. It's like,
you know what?
10 and 4.
He might have been up. Yeah, he went 10 and 4. He's like, that's it. We're gonna shut it down. We're up. We can parade that.
Well, what happened to the final 4 weeks of the season and the playoffs? Did he just decide, no, I'm good?
Oh, no, so remember, he made 21 bets. He made 21 bets and went 10 and 11, but those were his experiment bets to test the new formula. And then when he got the formula working, it was 10 and 4.
Hey, formula's working. But you got to have the pilot in order to make the show. You got to know if it works first.
Nadu and Knish clearly hinted at this. Fats is wasting his time. I mean, which person does not know that GRP is a losing bettor? I mean, come on.
I think my knock with Fats is I like him and I wish him all the best with his health issues. I think he's just kind of focused on the wrong people. Like these are not the I actually like Omar. Winning an argument with him is impossible a lot of the time. Men of the Library, same thing with him. I mean, he's going at people that you just can't really argue with. I don't, you're kind of talking to a brick wall.
We're going to go to the next topic here from Raheem Palmer. I am Rostradamus on Twitter. It says, if you're gambling and you don't have a huge bankroll to the point where you're betting hundreds of thousands of dollars in games, you owe it to yourself to attack smaller markets. They're far less efficient than your major sports. Many from NFL, NBA, MLB, or MLB isn't greener than money made off Spanish, ACB, or EuroLeague. Interested in your opinion on this, Flup, because I feel like it's just a couple ways to look at this. One could be negative.
No, excellent tweet. This is perfect. He nailed it. And the Circle Off crew, we had a great comment from Johnny that you should always be bidding limit on everything you do. And I could not agree more. If you're not betting limit, you're either not betting enough or you should be attacking a smaller market. When I see these people posting $500 tickets on like an MLB money line, what the hell? Like, why not attack a pitcher, case strikeouts or whatever? That's so much easier.
Can I give a rebuttal? What would you say? Like, my thought process reading this was, if you're going to be betting like, let's say $50 to $100, why would you be cooking your accounts on those small market stuff that would absolutely get your account flagged when you're not actually going to be making any real money off of it?
Okay, sure. My rebuttal to that is, how are you going to even earn at all? You got to grow your bankroll at some point. Worry about scaling when you actually have a bankroll that needs to be scaled. There's no guarantee that you even get to a point that you can scale. People are worried about conserving their accounts for forever. Well, guess what? If you have accounts, but you have no money, what's the point? You need money to bet. So if you can't scale first, if you can't build your bankroll first, no point in even worrying about scaling. I would say cook your accounts, get as much money as you can, build a bankroll, then worry about scaling.
No, I think you guys nailed it. The only thing, I'll play devil's advocate here. I think most people that are betting, not people, they may like, I know we live in a little bit of a niche, and the people that listen to the show, probably a little bit more educated gamblers. Most people just want to bet and watch what they're betting. When I go to the casino and I'm, next to the kiosk with, 20 people and they're not like, hey, I need to find this 3% edge there. They want to bet on an SGP on the NBA game that's about to start in 30 minutes and watch that, or bet on their NFL until morning and watch that. Nobody wants to watch, Spanish league or Greek league or any of that stuff that's on, or, KBO that's up, you got to get up at 5 a.m. or any of that stuff. So I agree if we're talking strictly like math, dollars and cents, what makes the most to grow your bankroll, absolutely agree. For the majority of people that are doing this from an entertainment or don't even have the knowledge or any of that, they just want to bet on what they're watching or what's on.
Agreed.
Next one comes from Rob Puzzola, who says, love getting emails offering a $500 deposit match from a book that already cut my limits at $2. Thanks, guys. I'll be sure to max it out over the next 37 years. I'm sure a lot of us have had experiences with that. There's got to be a better connection between like the marketing team and the traders, right?
I love this. This made me laugh so hard because I've talked to VIP hosts on my accounts and been like, hey, can you get my limits raised? And they're like, let me talk to the trading team. And then they come back with, oh no, we can't do it. It's like, I don't understand how there's no, it's just hilarious. It's so spot on. And why haven't they fixed it? It's an easy fix. If you're limited, you don't get offers, you don't get a VIP host. I don't understand.
No, it's serious. Like, no book has ever fixed this. Like, it literally, like, no, but I still get, like, from all the different accounts that are there, like, nobody's ever fixed it. I agree with you. I'll give Rob his flowers this week, just totally off top. I thought his rant on kind of the first, he had the great line about, Fats being the last guy arguing at the DJ with the DJ booth and the songs there. So, yeah, I think really I got to give it to Pizza Man in his a little bit of a kind of diatribe about the spaces and you are who you hang around with. You surround yourself with people that are, been scammers and that, where he said, he's having all these people on and they think that they're, Elf thinkers like, oh, I'm helping. They're here to help me. No, they were always in it for themselves, and that's now kind of, you've seen that crumbling down there. So I'll give it. Occasionally the guy comes out with a good fastball there, and the B team had a good show.
My favorite personal example of something is something like this. So I was limited at a sports book, and in my personal endeavors outside the Hammer, I was offered a sponsorship opportunity with this sports book, and I asked the people that were involved in the sponsorship if they could get my limits raised back up, because they were I took a stab and said, hey, can you contact the trading team and get my limits back so you can actually make this partnership work? And which they refused because the trading team said I was I forget the exact terminology, but something about unfairly betting. So
I respect the hustle. Great shot, Jacob.
I took my shot. They did. You know what they did? They did give me bigger limits on promotions like boost, but they did not give me my normal limits back. But I had to try. Last one coming up here from ESPN. This is resurfacing about the flag football being at the 2028 Olympic Games. And there's questions of whether or not NFL players should play in this, considering there is already an American flag football team. Daryl Doucette III, who is quarterback of said USA national flag football team, says flag football players deserve their opportunity to play for Team USA in the 2028 Los Angeles Games. And I'd love your guys' opinions and anybody watching in the comments. Who would you be bringing to the Olympics if you had the opportunity to choose? It's not quite like, it's not the exact same sport, but I mean, you have the pinnacle of athletes in the NFL.
It's funny. I got in an argument with a group chat of bettors today about this, and I actually thought the flag football initially might have been favored in the game because they're going to play, because I thought the sport was different. And then everyone told me how big of an idiot I am, and I learned more and more, and I realized the sports are very similar. There's two. I thought this was something like a MMA versus boxing kind of situation where, like, it's completely different sports, but it's not. These are very similar, and Justin Jefferson and Tyreek Hill are just going to absolutely obliterate whatever the flag football team can put up. They're too dominant as athletes. It won't even be close.
Yeah, and just from I respect the people that are going out there and doing it for the flag football team. And I know I would, if, I'm on the team and then it's like, oh, we have a chance to go to the Olympics. Now all these NFL guys are going to come in and Jake, I understand it from their perspective. I respect it. Sure, I really do. Sure. But from a content perspective, I mean, I want to see the NFL flag football team with whoever we got, Jaden Daniels at QB and Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase and Tyreek Hill. That would be like crack watching that, flag football running around on, beating up on Yugoslavia or something. So to me, I hear what they're saying, but if the NFL guys can play and want to play, you got it. I mean, also, that would be the biggest, literally, the most watched. If you're an Olympic, if you're part of the Olympic, you're like, no. Sorry, son. Yeah, I don't know. Dane Daniels, we see you, but we're gonna let this is like when they didn't bring Caitlin Clark to the Olympics on steroids, where the team didn't bring her, and then nobody gives a fucking shit about any of the women's games. This is that times 100, where if you don't bring them, no one's going to be reeling for flag football. If you bring them, every eyeball out there is going to be watching this.
Well, I thought Jason Kelsey made a great idea. Why not just do tryouts and put it on TV and let people watch it and get money, make money out of it? And if Daryl Doucette plays better than so-and-so,
I hear that.
Why not a game? Put them head to head. Winner goes to the Olympics.
I don't think you want to embarrass. If it's really going to be that, say, do we want to then, smash our flag football team with our, NFL players and show them, to me, I think just put the NFL guys in.
Knish, let me ask you something. Remember when the M1 mixtape tour was around?
Yeah.
Some of them guys went to the league, and they were Skip to My Lou was good. I mean, they had guys that were in the league. So,
and you know what? If you're the flag team, you're probably going to say, hey, bring it on. Give us our shot. So, yeah.
This reminds me a lot of the 2024 Olympics and the 3v3 basketball competition, where the mindset for the U.S. team was get the 3v3 guys in a way. And they had Jimmer Fredette played in the 3v3 Olympics, and they came 7th out of 8 teams, where, yeah, sure, it's a little bit different, but it's also very similar from a sports perspective. If you brought NBA players to the 3v3 tournament, I'm sure.
Well, I'm
confident they would.
This is way in the weeds, but I looked into that. I don't know why. I was in a rabbit hole one night. The Olympics created that specifically to not have professional players in it. So there's this whole qualifying thing in 3v3 that they had to go through, where you couldn't just put an NBA guy in. It's you had to go through all the qualifying.
Hey, fair enough then.
Get enough points, and then you would be in the Olympics. So hence why we couldn't just swap out our guys, even though the women's was different. So
yeah, I was gonna say women's had
the women
players
who were just
in
able.
NCAA.
I don't know why the Olympic. I think they just didn't want NBA players to come in and be able to dominate
upstage. Okay, hey, that's fair enough then. Let us know your thoughts on anything you saw from the show or anything in general in the comments down below. Be sure to pick some of the best and interact with them for next week's show. If you did enjoy, make sure you do smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. We're live. We have shows coming at you twice a week. And hey, it's moving week for the Hammer, which means we're going to have brand new studios in the next little while that you can look forward to, which means more and better content, especially those Thursday interviews returning. So notification bell on so you never miss out on anything. We will see you again next time.